executive director of the Belmont-Central Chamber of Commerce. We are also the current interim provider for SSA, Six Corners SSA 28-2014. And we have submitted a proposal to become the permanent provider for SSA 28-2014. However, I realize that even though we've been the interim provider since December, I realize that there are some folks that may not know much about the Belmont-Central Chamber of Commerce. So let me just tell you that the Chamber of Commerce was incorporated in 1969, but its roots go back to the 1930s when Belmont-Central was one of the top 10 commercial areas in the city of Chicago. The Chamber has also been the sole service provider for the Belmont-Central Special Service Area number 2 since 2009. I have been the executive director and SSA program manager since 2011. And Mike Calderulo has been the assistant director since 2016. Now, many, when I mentioned SSA 2 or Belmont-Central, many of people know it for the Belmont-Central parking facility at 3140 North Central. And in fact, that is why it's because of that parking facility that SSA 2 was created in 1981. It's a 265 car garage, as I said, built in 1981. It's open and staffed, you know, all day, all year. But it's just not a parking garage. We use it as our base for our street beautification efforts, and is also hosted customer attraction events such as obviously car shows. We've had mercados, also known as markets, and we've had some live performances at the garage. So it's been a multi-use facility as far as we are concerned. Some of the other Belmont-Central SSA activities are similar to other SSAs. We provide daily trash collection and daily sidewalk sweeping. That is actually done in-house with our in-house maintenance crew. As I said, since we have the garage base for our efforts, we do contract out for our seasonal snow plowing. And we also have about 60 planters in the SSA that we plant flowers in. Just for your knowledge, the Belmont-Central SSA is about 6 blocks on Belmont from Long to Austin, and on Central from approximately Wellington to Roscoe that we serve. Now, just to give you an idea of, you know, the split in our garage operations and our street beautification efforts, you can see here that in 2022, our total expenses were $278,000, and they were closely split between the garage operations, which includes the staffing and the maintenance of the facility. But then, you know, very close to what we also spend on our street beautification, as I mentioned, the snow removal, the trash collection, the sweeping, flower planting. And then we spend about 20% on administration, which is substantially less than the 30% cap allowed under SSA rules. Now the Belmont-Central SSA, when I started in 2011, one of the big concerns of the commissioners at that time was what they perceived as runaway expenses. And in fact, in 2010, or for several years, the SSA portion of the property owner's tax bill was exceeding 20% of their tax bill, a very large amount, especially if you compare that with other SSAs. And matter of fact, in 2010, it gotten as high as 23% of their tax bill. So the commissioner's directive was to rein in those expenses. And as you can see here, we have done that over the years that I have been the program manager. And for about the last 6 years, the percentage of the tax levy of the percentage of the SSA portion, the percentage of the SSA portion of the tax bill has been under 8%, about 7.5%. Last year it was 7.2. Now it is difficult to get it below that amount because the Belmont-Central Special Service Area is located entirely within the Belmont-Central TIF district. So what that means is that our tax base, the EAV, the Equalized Assessed Value, has been frozen since 2001. The TIF district is scheduled to expire at the end of 2024, but we have had to live with a frozen tax base for the last 22 years. Of course, other expenses have gone up in that time. Notably, the minimum wage has doubled just in the 10 years that I started here. However, despite that, we were able to actually freeze our levy for 4 consecutive years from 2019 to 2022, just through, expeditious spending and, just basically counting our nickels and dimes. That we were able to do that, freeze that levy despite all the other increases. This is just, I keep this chart just as an example, just based on see how we are doing on a year-to-year basis. You can see there the amount of taxes collected, the tax levy at the time, and the percentage of the tax bill. As you can see, it's the percentage of the tax bill, or the SSA portion, has been coming down consistently over the last 12 years. Now, as I also mentioned, the Belmont-Central Chamber has been the interim provider to Six Corners since December 15th. And we've had been doing a number of things since that time. That when we were first approached about being the interim provider, two topics were kind of priority. One was the holiday decorations. When I met with the alderman right before Thanksgiving, the holiday decorations had not been put up at Six Corners. However, we were able to get the decorations up before Christmas. So they were put up. And then also, there was no snow removal contractor in place as of November 25th. However, I was able to talk to our contractor at SSA number 2, who was willing and had the capacity to provide snow removal service to Six Corners. And he provided a contract that was accepted by the commissioners. And even though it has turned out to be a relatively mild winter, he did come out when necessary, and Six Corners did have snow removal service all through the season. We also had to open, obviously, a bank account dedicated to SSA 28 funds. As many people know, the second installment was not due, the taxes was not due until December 30th. So we did receive most of the funds, SSA, the second installment in January. And then we also, you know, as many people are aware of, the transition between the previous service provider and the interim provider was basically non-existent. However, we did work with the previous service provider, you know, for those necessary transition that had to be done. And you know, there's obviously still issues that come up, such as, you know, paying past due bills, and also following up with the auditor regarding the 2021 audit review letter, and following up with the 2022 audit. So that is completed by May 1st.
Reed, I just wanted to say,
yeah.
about 3.5 minutes remaining.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, as the permanent provider, we are not seeking to become the fourth chamber in Six Corners. You know, it's a unique situation that there are 3 organizations, 2 chambers in the Six Corners Association that serve the Six Corners area, and we acknowledge the legacy and good work of all of them. You know, besides their common interest in seeing Six Corners thrive, the chamber recognizes the 3 organizations' unique mission, strengths, and distinct roles they perform in the community. So, you know, so the chamber acknowledges this outsider role. You know, we're not technically part of Six Corners, but so we do not seek to interfere or inhibit the work of the existing chambers and associations, but we have a long history of working with all of them cooperatively and successfully, and we fully intend to keep working for their benefit as the permanent provider. And so, as the Belmont-Central Chamber role as a service provider, we will obviously, you know, serve the SSA 28-2014 Commission and performance directives, and we'll execute and enforce the contracts made with the subcontractors and vendors, be the fiscally responsible and transparent steward of the SSA funds, as we have been in SSA 2. And then we want to work with the Portage Park Chamber, the Six Corners Association, and the Six Corners Chamber to support their initiatives as appropriate, and as the SSA is fiscally able to do so. So we do not want to, we want to work with everyone. We don't want to leave anybody out. So with that, thank you for your time. We are happy to answer questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Reed.
Okay. How do I get out of this thing? One more while we get out. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Reed.
You're welcome.
The next applicant is the Edgebrook Sauganash Chamber of Commerce. And Nick is here. Morning, Nick.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me. There you go.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, great. So I did not prepare a PowerPoint, but I'd like to introduce myself and the Edgebrook Sauganash Chamber of Commerce. The Edgebrook Sauganash Chamber does serve the 60646 zip code on the city's far northwest side. We are a very large chamber geographically and include over 400 city licensed businesses within our boundaries. Our boundaries do reach the city limits to the north, Foster to the south, Pulaski to the east, and Caldwell to the west. So we cover an area of a little over 3 miles from tip to tip. We are also the sole service provider of SSA 62 at Peterson and Cicero, and have been since inception in 2014. We recently completed the reconstitution of SSA 62, which went, in my estimation, pretty smoothly. It's when I came into this job. The SSA, while small, does provide public way aesthetics and holiday decorations. We also do roofline lighting, which is something that's unique. And our commission primarily wants to pursue more permanent initiatives. They're not so big on snow removal and trash removal and the like. But we have a history of excuse me, complying with city regulations, and previous audits have had minimal findings. The only thing we have been found for is excessive carryover, which we're working with the commission to address. But apart from the SSA, the Edgebrook Sauganash Chamber is unique in the city in that in 2017 we were formed by a merger of the Edgebrook and Sauganash chambers. Since that time, we've continued to work well with other business and community organizations on various initiatives and programs, not only in the 60646 zip code, but across the far northwest side. As far as individual qualifications for this, as the ED, I have a background in dealing with the city as a licensed expediter. I've assisted with countless business licenses, including liquor and tobacco, as well as walked applicants through the special use process. So I'm very familiar with the needs of our individual businesses across the city. I've also have a background in permitting for special events, which is something that I know the Six Corners SSA is looking into this year, following the success of their hot dog festival a couple years back. And that's it's a value added, something that we bring to the table that saves on costs for them. I guess the big, not elephant in the room, but ESCC, why are we applying for this when we're 3 miles north of Cicero? Ultimately, a service provider is a contractor. It's the process. The process for choosing a service provider should be similar to the process for choosing a snow removal company who can do the job at the right price and with the right qualifications, regardless of where they are in the city. We also come to the table with an objective background. We are removed from the day-to-day of Six Corners and their long history. But we're, as Reed had said earlier, the service provider is here to do the job that the SSA commissioners deem necessary. Yes, of course, we will work with the local organizations, but ultimately, as a service provider, our responsibility is to steward the tax dollars of the district in a responsible manner and carry out the commission's vision. As far as staffing for this, while we are geographically removed, we would hire a dedicated staffer that would be with the SSA full time. They would not have any duties or responsibilities split with the day-to-day operations of the chamber. So they would be able to dedicate everything towards that, towards SSA management. We would also locate the staffer in the Six Corners area, not in the chamber office. Personally, I do live in the Portage area, so I'm also familiar like with Six Corners. And yeah, I suppose that's what we've got. So I appreciate being considered, and thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Nick. Our next applicant is the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. And is George available?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go
Good
ahead.
morning. My name is George Borvik, and I'm the Executive Director of the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to thank the Department of Planning and Development for giving us this opportunity to make a presentation in support of our proposal to be the sole service provider for the Special Service Area in Six Corners, SSA number 28-2014. The Portage Park Chamber was founded in 1937 by a group of local business owners, most of whom were in the Six Corners area. And for the next 60 plus years, the Chamber of Commerce focused pretty much on the Six Corners area, which until maybe the late 80s was the second busiest shopping district in the city after downtown. Even though our boundaries have grown and we cover 3 square miles, we still focus primarily on Six Corners because that's where the biggest density is. That's where the biggest concentration of businesses are. And that's the area that generates the most gross sales. My grandfather was a pharmacist who opened up 3 drugstores along Cicero Avenue, starting in 1913 at Armitage in Cicero, which was in the Cragen neighborhood at 2000 North. And then later in the decade at Belmont in Cicero. And then in 1922, he opened up a drugstore at the southwest corner of Irving and Cicero, right in the heart of the Six Corners shopping district. During Depression, he was hit kind of hard, so his younger brother took it over, my great uncle. And when he died in 1960, my dad, who was also a pharmacist, bought the store from his aunt and ran it until he retired in 1996. My folks were always very involved in civic activities, whether it be Volunteers for Muscular Dystrophy or the Portage Park Kiwanis or the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. My mom was asked to be on the board in the 1970s, and from 1979 to 2000, she was the volunteer board president of the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. And during her tenure, with the help of a very good board of directors, there was a lot of improvements made to Six Corners. Long stalled projects like streetscape improvements, stoplights at both Kilpatrick, which is just 1 block east of Cicero, and then also at Lamont at 4900 West Irving Park, were put in, which made things a lot safer in the neighborhood. Over the last few months, we were able to add 4 new board members to the chamber, 2 of whom have businesses in the 4900 block of Irving Park, right in the heart of the SSA. And they're here today to talk a little bit. We also had the benefit of, the misfortune of the Six Corners Chamber of Commerce losing the SSA was to our benefit because we got the 2 people that ran the SSA, Nina Kozinski and Michael Giordano, to come on board as staff members of the Portage Park Chamber. And if we're selected, they will be the stewards of the SSA. They'll be the managers. They did an outstanding job. They know the people in the area. They live in the area, so they'll be right on site. And I think they've shown the ability to do a great job, so there won't be any learning curve. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Because time is short, I can answer them in writing if you want to give them to me later. But now I'd like to turn over to my friend, Nina Kozinski.
Thank you, George. Good morning. My name is Nina Granke-Kozinski. I am the business liaison at the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce, lifelong resident of the Six Corners area. Can you imagine what people are thinking as they travel through Six Corners? Shredded banners, garbage on the sidewalks, graffiti. Would this be the area that you would want to shop at? Visit a restaurant, open a new business? These serious issues are not hard to fix. However, they do require constant attention to detail. The shredded banners are a total embarrassment. One simple call to have them removed would take care of the lack of pride this area is now showing. A meeting with the commissioners and business owners to possibly design new ones for the future shows that you value their opinion and equity that they have in the area. The luck of the Irish came to Irving Park as the chained up Rusty the reindeer was finally removed after 3 months. It's a shame they didn't remove Happy Holidays from the marquee. There is no excuse for trash on the sidewalk or overflowing garbage cans. Once again, why isn't anyone overseeing the day-to-day operations? If there is this much debris around now, can you imagine what the warmer weather will bring? Our alderman's office and 311 system are top notch in getting graffiti removed. In less than 5 minutes, you can take a picture, send it to the alderman's office or 311, and it is usually removed in less than 24 hours. Difficult? Absolutely not. You just need to walk the area and take care of it. When you have a management team that is not committed to the SSA responsibilities, this is what happens. The decline happens quickly, but makes a lasting impression on the thousands of cars that travel through Six Corners daily. Six Corners is the business hub of the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. We have established relationships with the aldermen, commissioners, and business owners. We respect what they bring to the table. This allows us to personalize the details of the SSA. Given the chance, we will not disappoint you. We will bring back the pride of Six Corners. Thank you. Michael?
Thank you, Nina. My name is Michael Giordano, and I am the Assistant Executive Director. This morning, I just wanted to touch on some of the issues that Nina and I corrected as managers of SSA 28 previously. The first one was discovered immediately upon receiving the contract in 2021, when we discovered that about 50% of the SSA was not receiving snow removal service from the previous sole service provider, the Six Corners Association. I would ask you to now refer to the snow removal map on the screen and follow along by looking at the sidewalks shaded in yellow, encompassed in green, that are east of Cicero Avenue. The affected properties that did not receive snow removal and salting services were the Sears and Sears Auto Center properties, the Marketplace at Six Corners property, Jewel, Marshalls, PetSmart, etc., the current Clarendale Six Corners property and the adjacent Bank of America and Chipotle properties, along with the property located on the northwest corner of the Milwaukee Avenue and Kilpatrick intersection. Additionally, the sidewalks surrounding the former People's Gas site were not being cleared, along with all the sidewalks surrounding the Ross store and Dee Dee's Discount property on the southeast corner of the Six Corners intersection. If this sounds like a lot of property, well, it is. Collectively, these properties account for approximately 50% of the total EAV of SSA 28-2014. Another way of thinking about this is 50% of our SSA's budget was coming from properties that weren't receiving arguably the most critical service that we provide. I also learned that the property manager of the Ross and Dee Dee's Discount property wasn't even aware that their property was located within an SSA. Needless to say that within a week, our snow removal map was revised to now include these large stretches of sidewalk that were previously not being serviced. The city insists that all SSA services must be distributed equally to all the properties which constitute and consequently pay into the tax levy for any SSA. Is this not what we are required to do as a fiduciary for these taxpayer dollars? We also discontinued funding from the SSA to Hands to Help. Hands to Help was receiving $12,000 annually from SSA 28, while the Six Corners Association was the sole service provider. However, in 2020, an SSA 28 commissioner contacted Hands to Help directly and was told that they, Hands to Help, didn't have a dedicated on-site caseworker for Six Corners for the previous 4 years. So while I know Hands to Help undoubtedly did good work in assisting the homeless, the Six Corners Business District was not benefiting. Therefore, the question of what exactly did SSA 28 receive for the $48,000 that it gave to Hands to Help over this 4-year period still lingers. Seriously, where did the money go? Lastly, I would like to mention that we made repairs to the SSA's irrigation system that were needed for the past several years. We also made sure to mulch the planter beds throughout the SSA. This was done for the first time since 2017. And finally, we also made sure to display Christmas decorations along the 3900 block of North Cicero Avenue. A longtime Six Corners business owner whose business is located on that block mentioned that this block had been repeatedly overlooked. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Jacqueline Mencius, one of our awesome board members.
All right, thank you, Michael. And hello, my name is Jacqueline Mencius, and I'm a board member here at the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. I also own a business here at Six Corners called Jumba Cafe. I have lived here my whole life, and now I'm raising my two children, Rio, who is 5, and Lola, who is 3, with my husband in the house I grew up in. I love my neighborhood, and I want Portage Park to be what it was when I was a kid. I remember as a child opening my first bank account, going to Portage Theater to see a movie, and enjoying a night out at Mr. Steer for dinner. I want that for my children and for everybody who lives, works, and is raising children here at Six Corners. I'm a board member here because of Nina Kozinski and Michael Giordano. Why? Because I believe in them and their dedication to serving Six Corners and its people and small businesses like myself. This past year, as a small business owner, I felt heard and supported. Nina and Michael were always coming into Junebug to inform me on grants and events that they were hosting as a way to draw in customers and support our growth as a business. Last summer, I had some concerns with the plants in front of my business. I reached out to Nina and Michael, and they helped. It made me so happy to see the new flowers in front of my business and many other businesses up and down Six Corners. This may seem minor to some, but as a business owner, it made all the difference. Nina and Michael know the businesses here at Six Corners. They know the owners, and they know not everyone's needs are the same. With Nina and Michael, they had staff picking up trash in the neighborhood. I know this because I'd see it every day on my way to pick up my kids from school. I do not see that anymore. Since the new year, the outreach has gone down almost entirely. Our current service provider has not reached out at all. And as a business owner, that is just not good enough. I feel our team is the right choice. We live and breathe Six Corners. We as a team here at the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce are Six Corners. We live, we work, we own business here at Six Corners. We want this contract because we believe that we can make a difference. And we, the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce, will never give up on making Six Corners a place for everyone. Thank you. And Dan, off to you.
Okay. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning. My name is Dan Butterworth. I'm a board member here at the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce. I'm a 10-year Portage Park resident and a lifelong Chicagoan. For the almost entire 20 years of my financial services career, I've supported small businesses and helped them communicate and create value to their members. The reason why I'm really here today, though, is because I was the chair of the special events committee that produced the event known as the Windy City Hot Dog Fest. We started with a very simple plan: bring together a diverse group to showcase Six Corners, not only to recognize its historical significance, but also to instill a sense of pride for what's to come. The group came together, and I'm extremely proud to say that in 8 weeks, we accomplished what would ordinarily take 6 months. With the help from special events management, we launched what will be the Northwest Side's kickoff to summer for decades to come, the Windy City Hot Dog Fest. Over the course of 2 days, we attracted over 15,000 Chicagoans to the Six Corners area to eat, drink, and be merry on our little stretch of Milwaukee Avenue. The fest generated over $400,000 in revenues, making it a completely ROI positive event and fully reinvesting the SSA's initial commitment to make sure we're providing maximum value to our shareholders. Businesses like Gracie O'Malley's recorded record sales, and as a result, we also had a 100% recommit rate from vendors at the fest, showcasing our desire to continue on the revenue generation and really investing in our community. We've also had multiple businesses express interest and look to expand to Six Corners when the time came to grow their business. I thank you for the opportunity to present here today and let us talk about why we think the Portage Park Chamber is best. We know you'll hear 4 great presentations, but I ask you to consider not just the provider who will access and utilize the resources, but one that will truly maximize them for the betterment of our community.
Thank you, Dan. My name is Michael DeMayo. I'm a board member of the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce and a 30-plus year stakeholder in the Six Corners Business District. I'm also a past commissioner of SSA 28 and a past executive of the SSP. Yes, the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce checks all the boxes, as any of these organizations can. What differentiates us is our team. This is our distinctive competency. This is what we uniquely bring to the table. We know what works and what doesn't. How do we know this? The PPCC Board of Directors is comprised of many business owners, which include stakeholders within the SSA. We know businesses aren't looking for over-politicized organizations masquerading behind a tax levy. We know businesses want high-quality services delivered competitively, equitably, timely, and professionally. Whether our team members were born and raised here or chose to locate their business here, along with our management team, we all share the same passion to make Six Corners the vibrant business district it once was. Our team is ready to hit the ground running day one. This management team is already known to the businesses. More importantly, their past performance is already known. Next level was previously delivered by this team. Nothing short of next level will be expected by the business district. To assume some distant organization could accomplish the same would be to underestimate the effort and impact of truly having boots on the ground every day. Again, local is best, local works. With the continued development of major parcels at Six Corners and the Milwaukee Avenue corridor, a local team with their finger on the pulse is imperative. As development continues to move north on Milwaukee Avenue through Wicker Park and Logan Square, the point of intersection in Portage Park is the Six Corners Business District. The general health of any neighborhood starts with a thriving business district.
Excuse
Our
me,
team has-
Michael. I'm sorry. Time is expired. Thank you for your presentation. Our final presenter today is the Six Corners Association. Amy Zander is here to represent them.
Hi.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let me go ahead and share. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Amy Zander. I am the managing director here at the Six Corners Association. I'd like to say a big thank you to Mark and all of the DPD staff for allowing us to come here today. We've kind of been on this circle for the past couple of years, and I just want to share a little bit about what's been going on with us since we last met a few years ago. So the Six Corners Association, what we do, we are a local membership-based organization. We're not for profit, and we provide technical assistance and networking opportunities to the businesses and the residents of the community here at Six Corners. We're a designated City of Chicago NBDC. We're an Illinois Main Street Association. We're also a sub-grantee of the City of Chicago's COVID-19 Employer Outreach Program for the Northwest Side. And we are a community navigator for the Illinois Department of Commerce. So we do a whole lot for our businesses in the community as far as hooking them up with local resources and statewide resources in terms of funding and things like that as we've come out of the pandemic. We do a wonderful job of being purposeful in the types of marketing that we provide to our businesses. When we were the SSA provider, the #1 request we received was for marketing. These businesses want to get their name out there on social media, and as an organization, we decided to continue that service, though we didn't have the funding to do so any longer. We continued to hire a marketing contractor who's been working with us all of these years. Many of the people who are on this call today are benefiting from our services that we provide through marketing, which has been great. To know a little bit about our organization, we are a volunteer board-based organization. We have 6 board members. They are all residents of Six Corners and business owners of the area. Myself, I've been the managing director here since the turmoil started with the SSA back in 2020. I have more than 18 years of experience managing not-for-profits, including 12 years of SSA management here in Chicago. I'm also a lifelong Portage Parker, raising my family here just down the street. So why are we here today? Our association created this SSA. We went out and knocked the doors, got the signatures, and got the businesses on board in the community. 10 years later, we did it again. We reconstituted this SSA. We held the provider position for 16 years. We were removed back in 2020 for the 2021 year. If you go back and listen to those recordings of those meetings, you'll see that nobody had any problem with our services. It was that they wanted change. So change was given. It did not go well. We're right back here where we started again. And maybe even worse so, because as the Portage Park Chamber just showed those pictures, the neighborhood is in disrepair currently. That wasn't the case when we were the provider. We still have that trust and support from the business community. Every single day, we field phone calls from people looking for SSA services. They still don't understand why we're not the provider. They call us to help them with their business licensing. They call us for marketing assistance. They call us just to chit chat and say hello. We know these businesses and the residents that live in these buildings, and they depend on us. We still foster the ideas of the master plan, and we have a lot of development that's happening right now at Six Corners. People can say, oh, it just started a couple of years ago. No, these developments started many, many years ago with talks with different developers, and we fought to make sure that these were going to be walkable districts. We want Six Corners to continue to have that walkability. Like so many people here today said, we want our children to grow up and, you know, ride their bikes over to Six Corners for ice cream or stop in for a coffee. And if we make it where we have curb cuts everywhere, we can't do that and have our kids feel safe doing that. At least I don't. So Six Corners Association has been very mindful in the type of planning that we want to see here at Six Corners. And it is coming to fruition finally. And that's wonderful. And we're so excited. We also have key media relationships here within the neighborhood and throughout the city of Chicago. We get lots of media attention because we are an Illinois Main Street Association. We also just have wonderful relationships with DPD, BACP, zoning, Streets and Sand. We have contacts everywhere just because we've done this for so long. So what we do, we provide business support. Like I said, we run fun promotions in the community. The past couple of years, we've done our March Madness, which was a kind of a spin on the March Madness basketball tournament. We didn't do it this year because everyone else is doing it. This year, Channel 9's doing a pizza one, but we were the first ones. So we decided to stop this year and do something different. But we were the first group to start that program. We provide licensing support, business event promotion. And again, I have to mention our marketing once again. Our marketing is top notch. We get over 100 submissions every single month for our newsletter because we have so many people who read it. So let me tell you a little bit about Main Street America. Main Street has been around for about 40 years. It helps small towns and other communities and urban districts kind of make their neighborhoods a little bit more diverse and bring in additional resources. The Six Corners Association is currently the only nationally accredited organization in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot has really been pushing it with the Invest in Southwest team. So there are quite a few organizations on the South and Southwest sides that are looking into becoming accredited. We have been asked to kind of help a little bit with that, which has been really interesting to talk to people on the other side of the city and see how they're doing things. One of the things we're most proud of is in this past year, we were awarded the Lieutenant Governor's Award for Design for enhancing the physical and visual elements at Six Corners. We, since losing the SSA, I want to point out that we didn't have any funding coming in. You know, once the SSA funds were changed over to the next provider, we had to fundraise. And we were in this time since the past 3 years able to install 3 new murals at Six Corners. This is just a little picture here as part of one of them that we did through the Culver's drive-through, which is amazing. We worked with about 10 different artists on it to really encapsulate the Six Corners neighborhood. So like I said, we did win the Lieutenant Governor's Award in 2022 for our art. This is another picture of the other half of the mural. If you haven't seen it, please come by and check it out. It's so cool. We're also going to continue to be a neighborhood business development center, and we're continuing our COVID outreach efforts. New to us currently is we are a community navigator. There is new grant money coming out from the state of Illinois, opening up later in the beginning of April, and we will be the community navigator here on the northwest side of Chicago for those grants. Those grants can go out to restaurants, hotels, and arts organizations. So we're already seeing tons of phone calls from our businesses and assisting them with how they will get their applications in. Our businesses at Six Corners, they love us. They have forever. They're still calling us. They're still asking us for help. Plus, we have almost 9,000 likes on our Facebook page. It's huge. And we also have just shy of 2,300 followers on our Instagram page. We put out marketing to the businesses, for the businesses, to these people, and that's what's bringing them shoppers. So it's highly sought after every week. I'm not kidding how many people we get approaching us for that marketing resource. Events, we still continue to do all the good events that we had done when we were SSA management. Our holiday trolley has become out of this world amazing. It's encompassed now multiple neighborhoods and features over 50 businesses. We had over 800 people ride the trolley this year in just a short 6 hours. It's amazing. We just launched some women in business events. We're partnering with several local organizations in the community, the Old Irving Park Women's Association specifically, to talk about women in business and how we can help lift each other up and gain more business for one another. We've done work with Open House Chicago in the past. We do our spring cleanups, and we still host our Social After 6 networking events where we bring people out to local businesses. Again, our community engagement is huge. We engage with the residents of the community, public art. So one of the paintings that we did this past year was the mural underneath the viaduct just east of Six Corners. And we had community artists come out and paint. We had kids from different schools come out and paint. It was a really wonderful event. Tons of community engagement and activation for that underneath the metro, underneath the tracks where it's really, it's just dirty. So it's brightened and clean. It's gotten rid of all the graffiti that's there. We also do bike-friendly businesses, encouraging people to ride their bikes to the community and designating which businesses are there. We also advocate for open community spaces. We had the People Spot out on Milwaukee Avenue for several years. Unfortunately, when we were not the service provider, we had to give the equipment over to the new provider, and it has not been back out on the street. So I'm not sure where that is located anymore, but we would love to get that back up. And so as far as COVID-19 goes, so all of this happened right in the middle of the pandemic. Everyone had to pivot, including our organization. Things that we did was create a COVID resource page for our businesses so they would know where to go. And this was early on when we were all so confused by what was happening. We also assisted with sidewalk cafes and expanded outdoor dining permits. Our organization did so many of these, not just at Six Corners proper, but we were getting phone calls from aldermen in other wards asking us to go out and assist their businesses because we seem to have gotten a really good grasp on it. And we're able to get these businesses open and people in the seats. That program actually just wrapped up at the end of last year, but we had been working with BACP to see how we can find a way to expand that programming for some of our businesses that want to continue it, although they don't have some place to have, they don't have like a designate, like the sidewalk isn't large enough, which is a lot of Six Corners. We also helped to obtain over $1 million in PPP and other grants for our businesses here. Many of our businesses came to us needing assistance on how to fill out these forms, so we happily helped. And then we also are a sub-grantee of the program for the Northwest Side that helps employers get their employees vaccinated. That was a mobile unit where you could bring out nurses to come to your facility and have your employees vaccinated on site at work so that they wouldn't have to take time off, or and you wouldn't have to ask questions about their vaccine status again back when the pandemic was first starting. So that program's wrapping up this June. So that's my presentation. Thank you so much. I think that we've all weathered these past couple of years, and I hope that we can continue to be of assistance to the community. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And again, I'd like to thank our four applicants, the Belmont-Central Chamber of Commerce, Edgebrook Sauganash Chamber of Commerce, the Portage Park Chamber of Commerce, and the Six Corners Association. I would also like to acknowledge Reed for stepping in the role as the interim service provider. This is something that is unique to the SSA program, and Reed did establish and reestablish the contracts to keep services going. As it was noted, though, you really do need that day-to-day presence. That was never really part of the interim agreement, so I just want to kind of set the record straight there, and appreciate all of Reed's work to continue on in this process to keep SSA 28 functioning. I'd also like to acknowledge Mary O'Connor, who has joined the meeting. She is our Deputy Commissioner for the Small Business Advisory Division at DPD. And so our division administers several programs that assist small businesses in Chicago, so under her leadership. So I just want to acknowledge her. And finally, just for the next steps, DPD will be making a decision within the next 2 weeks to select the service provider that will serve until the remainder of the year, 2023. The budget will be discussed for 2024 coming up with the commission. And the commission will also make a recommendation for a service provider for 2024. So we hope to get back to the regular process. But again, we appreciate everybody's participation today in, for the betterment of Six Corners and SSA 28-2014. So with that, I would like to wish everybody a good day, and thanks for participating today. Thank you.